Sojourn here.
In case you missed it, we got a closer look at Overwatch's first Canadian hero at the BlizzCon line presentation. I'm Tikatee with PECO Overwatch, and today we're going to break down everything we've learned about Sojourn and speculate about the kind of role she'll play in-game. First things first, we unfortunately didn't get any indication that Sojourn will be joining our cast of heroes before the launch of Overwatch 2, so keep in mind that many of the things we saw today are likely subject to change while she's still in development. Now onto the fun stuff. Sojourn is a 200 HP DPS hero equipped with a railgun that has two different firing modes. Her primary fire is a fast-moving projectile with a fast fire rate and a 40-round clip. It seems to shoot about as fast as Orissa's primary fire, but has noticeably faster projectile speed. The weapon has a slight spread that starts after 6 shots and caps out after 10 shots, making mid to long-range targets considerably harder to hit. Dealing damage with Sojourn's primary fire fills her charge meter. Shots against enemy heroes generate 5% per bullet, and shots into enemy shields generate half that. It isn't explicitly shown, but we assume this charge rate is based on damage dealt, so would generate double the amount of charge per headshot. This charge mechanic is used to power Sojourn's secondary fire, the railgun. The railgun cannot be used at 0% charge, and its damage scales based on the amount of charge stored, up to approximately 150 damage at 100% charge. The railgun shot can also headshot for double damage. When fired, the railgun shoots off a single hit-scan round and expends the entirety of Sojourn's charge. It is our assumption that this shot will pierce enemies and have some kind of damage fall-off based on the number of targets affected, but this was not explicitly shown during the demonstration. Unfortunately, we also aren't shown how the railgun interacts with shields. Whether or not it will pierce them and affect enemies behind is unknown. This could likely be due to ongoing balance changes the hero is going through during development. It is also unclear if this weapon has fall-off damage based on range, since while it is a hit-scan weapon, it has a very unique mechanic. Now let's move on to Sojourn's abilities. Once again, we weren't shown everything during the event, but we did get a glimpse into her ultimate ability. Upon casting her ultimate, Sojourn's gun begins glowing and her railgun charge rapidly increases for the duration, allowing for back-to-back fully charged railgun shots. Based on this clip during the presentation, it seems she should be able to get between 8 and 10 fully charged shots off during her ultimate, which is quite substantial considering the damage behind each shot. Her other base abilities weren't shown, but we can speculate on what they might be based on the abilities icon and a clip of one of Sojourn's highlight intros. Firstly, she appears to have a mobility cooldown in the form of a slide. We speculate that this ability will be solely ground-based, similar to McCree's combat role, but offer more in terms of mobility, and she appears to be able to fire her weapon during its movement. Her second ability is harder to guess. Her highlight intro shows her wielding some sort of weapon attachment on her left arm, which will likely shoot some kind of projectile. The functionality for this ability we would guess is something similar to Orissa's Halt, a kind of mini crowd control effect that helps Sojourn group up enemies together to line up shots from a railgun. This would likely have slightly different mechanics to Orissa's Halt. Maybe it acts as a deployable trap that triggers on recast, or when enemies walk into its proximity, but some sort of grouping effect seems the most likely to synergize with the rest of her design. We've already established that she's a DPS hero, but how will she compare to the many other DPS heroes at our disposal? The ability to deal potentially massive AoE damage with hit-scan precision is currently not something that any of the other Overwatch heroes can offer. Also unlike any other heroes is her charge mechanic. Poke damage will matter more to Sojourn than any other hero, as it not only builds her ultimate, but her railgun charge as well. Weaving precision railgun shots on vulnerable members between constant pressure on enemy front lines from her primary fire will be a vital part of mastering this hero. Think similarly to Baptiste weaving in damage between his healing shots. Sojourn likely won't be very self-sustainable, so positioning and reacting to the pace of your tanks will be very crucial. Once established in a teamfight, however, she will unleash incredible amounts of damage. Poke and shield-based compositions will enable her game plan and help solidify her space for extended periods of time. She will be strongest against brawl and bunker-type compositions that are easily maneuvered and are often grouped up. Using her ultimate doesn't seem like it will require much setup cost. Essentially, it's a large damage boost to her kit, good for enabling aggression from your team and for shutting down offensive movements from the enemy. This seems to be a similar ultimate to Bastion's configuration tank, but hopefully without the long startup animation. There's still a lot we don't know about Sojourn, but there's already a good glimpse into what's coming for Overwatch's future. She'll be a very mechanically demanding hero with a mix of projectile and hit-scan shots in her kit, but in the right hands, she will have some of the highest damage output in the entire game. Thanks for listening to our thoughts on Sojourn. This has been Tikatee with PECO Overwatch, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and join our Discord down in the description.